All right, sometimes you got to move from a standard form equation, which is this, over to a slope-intercept form. And if you remember, a slope-intercept form is simply y equals mx plus b, where m is our slope and b is our y-intercept. If we know those two things, we can graph this pretty easily. So let's go ahead and transfer this equation over here to slope-intercept form. That means we're going to have to solve for y or isolate y. So when we isolate y, the first thing we're going to recognize here is that we have this big 3x out here. We need to get rid of that. We have to move it over to the other side of the equal sign or the other side of the equation. So in order to move it, we just use the opposite of what you see. So it's a positive 3x. I'm going to use a negative 3x. I'm going to move that over here. I'm going to draw a line. Now, when I combine these, I'm going to think to myself, well, I have a positive 3x and a negative 3x. They're opposites of each other. So guess what? They cancel out. They're gone. Okay. Once those are gone, just simply going to say, well, I have a whole entire negative y value equals to 1 minus 3x. So y, negative y equals to 1 minus 3x. Now we do have a problem here, and some people may recognize this, is that it's a negative y and we are looking for a positive y. So I'm going to have to go ahead and get rid of this negative that's right there. And some people would recognize that if I have negative y, that's kind of like saying negative 1 times y equals to 1 minus 3x. The easiest way to do this at this point is to say, well, when negative 1 is attached by multiplication, so let's just divide it out. I'm going to divide everything. If I do what I do to one side, I've got to do to the other side of the equation. So I'm going to divide everything by negative 1. Or in other words, take the opposite of what is there. So negative 1 divided by negative 1, take the opposite of it, turns this into a positive 1, okay, giving me y. And then I have 1 divided by negative 1. 1 divided by negative 1 is negative 1. And then I have negative 3 divided by negative 1. Negative 3 divided by negative 1 is positive 3. Two negatives make a positive with an x. Now, we have our equation. We have a positive y. And that is exactly what we are looking for, is solving for a positive y. Now, you'll notice in slope-intercept form that mx comes first, and then the y-intercept comes last. So I'm just going to switch it around. Y equals to mx positive 3x, and then minus 1. And that is in slope-intercept form. So let's go ahead and graph this. Okay, so let's go ahead and graph this. We're going to start with our y-intercept. If you remember, the y-intercept is right here. It is the last part. It's the constant that is by itself. Our y-intercept is negative 1. So I'm going to go to negative 1 on the graph and just put a data point right there. Once I've got that, now I'm going to graph our slope. Now, if you remember, what is slope? Slope is just simply rise over run. So rise over run. And that is 3. Our number is 3, but it has to be a fraction. So I don't make 3 into a fraction. I just put it over 1. So 3 over 1. So the rise is 3, the run is 1. I like to pay attention that both of these are positive. So that's what I'm going to count out. I'm going to go up 3, 1, 2, 3, and then I'm going to go over to the right 1. I'm going to draw a new data point. And then I'm going to go up 3, 1, 2, 3, and go to the right 1. And once you start recognizing these little steps, you can actually just follow those. So I'm going to draw another one, and then we can actually follow the steps backwards, over 1 and down 3, 1, 2, 3, and just follow the steps. And you can continue this until you have finished all of the data points across your grid line. Once you've got this, go ahead and connect them with a line so that you can show you're including all of the points. Okay, and then of course, as your teachers are going to love, go ahead and label the equation of that line. So we said that this was y equals to 3x minus 1, and you may even just go ahead and line it, rewrite it with standard form as well. All right, I hope that helps you out, moving from standard form to slope-intercept form, and then being able to make a graph of that line.